Good morning. Welcome to the online service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. My name is Dave Tarbell, and I'm pleased to act as your worship associate this morning. Today, we welcome our regular minister, Margie Allen, back from her sabbatical leave. She returns to a very different set of circumstances than when she started her leave, both here at the fellowship and in our society at large. We here are doing online services due to the virus pandemic. The larger society is in the midst of reactions to this pandemic and now the sad developments in race relationships. First the pandemic and then the recent killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery have laid bare some of the festering problems of inequality that plague our culture. As we gather for our service this morning, we send our thoughts and prayers to those most directly affected by these sad calamities and other developments. We hope that our worship this morning may bring at least some solace to troubled souls. I'd like to offer a special welcome to anyone new to our fellowship. Our services vary in style and content quite a bit, and we hope that you will visit us more than once to get a true sense of who we are as a community of faith. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religion with no fixed creed that everyone has to accept. We are guided by our 7 principles and multiple sources of inspiration. You will find information about these on our webpage. Following our morning service, there will be a service for our youth and families. You will have to leave this meeting to join that separately. The link for that service is found either on our webpage or in the separate news feed that went out yesterday. At the conclusion of our morning service, we will have a virtual coffee hour. It will take a few minutes for everyone to be admitted into the full collection with full active video and audio, so please be patient while our tech team accomplishes this. And due to our congregational annual meeting today, we will not have our usual small group chat options. So please check the Saturday news feed for details, including the link to the annual meeting. There will be a caravan for justice and change right after that meeting. That's an auto caravan from Mineola to Hauppauge, followed by a rally. And the 3 village clergy associations' faith celebration diversity signs are now available. For those things, check the Thursday news feed for details.
Good morning, beloveds. We mark our transition into sacred time and space with the sounding of this hammered metal Buddhist bell. Let its song open your hearts and minds to the experience of worship.
You might choose to light a candle or a chalice this morning as we light ours. These chalice lighting words were first penned by Erich Heller Wagner. Blessed be the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit, touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life.
This is a sweet moment for me. This return into a familiar Sunday morning relationship with you, my people, after 3 months of somewhat disrupted sabbatical time away. In my absence, our amazing worship and tech team invented a whole new way of gathering safely in a time of plague. This morning, I am in their hands, learning these new ropes with their gentle guidance. As I speak to you through this screen, please know that I see your Sunday faces where I have seen them on at least 350 mornings in the past, gathered together in our light-saturated sanctuary on Nichols Road. I have missed you. This morning, we consider our sixth source, the spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. The final sermon in a series that I began last fall. When every good thing we humans have put together begins to fall apart, when the evil we are prone to sow into the fields of our endeavors takes hold and begins to spread in the body politic, when the idea of freedom becomes detached from the idea of care and responsibility, when the voices and bodies of protesters and truth tellers are suppressed and oppressed, when the protections around our democracy begin to crumble, when a global pandemic shakes us out of every routine that normally keeps us sane, when things are crazy like this, we need to gather ourselves in order to take action. What more empowering thing can we do than plug ourselves back into the web of creation and sing? We are but animals. We are mammals called human, interdependent with the other living beings with whom we share this life. We are kin, and in that kinship, we are powerful together and sustained when we are apart. Today, we reconnect and root ourselves again in the song and story of our shared life. Our first hymn is for settling in, Winds Be Still. Sing or read the words, relax where you're sitting, take some deep breaths, feel the web that holds you. Peter will play a short introduction, and then we'll sing together all 3 verses. I invite you into a moment of guided meditation, followed by a short luxury of silence in which we can all dwell together. Following the silence, we'll sing Spirit of Life, but for now, settle yourselves into your seat and let your back be fully supported along its length. Here is an image of the base of a tree that is a friend of mine. I invite you to sit and lean your back against her. The ground is dry, no worries. The trunk is shaped perfectly to welcome the curve of your spine. It is cool in the dappled shade. There's a refreshing breeze. The leaves are brushing against one another in a soft song. Settle in. You can close your eyes at some point if you like. So let yourself sink back into communion with the flow of life energy through the tree, from deep seeking roots to sun-reaching leaves. Where your body meets the ground upon which you are seated, feel your own root reaching down, branching out, interweaving with the tree's root system. Feel the breadth of that spread, the depth of that reach, the intermingling of the roots of other trees and fungal threads, the internet of the ground. There are conversations there between neighbors, and you also are a neighbor. Join in the conversation. Feel your arms now in your mind, or actually reaching up and out towards the canopy of the tree and the nourishing sun. The wisdom in that reaching. Look only for your piece of the light. The warmth, the hum of photosynthesis, the flow of joy, and the yes that turns the leaves at your fingertips toward the sun's rays, toward the reaching branches of the neighboring trees, balancing each other there. Sharing strength, sharing rootedness, sharing sunlight and news. Feel the flow of energy down your arms into your own trunk, down to the roots that keep you anchored in your life. Feel the reverse flow of water and minerals up from the deep, dark earth into the light and leaves. This is what sustains and empowers you. This flow through the web of life flows also through you. Through you, between you, among you flows the healing, teaching, uniting, nourishing, inspiring, creating energy of life. What we might call the spirit of life, the breath of life, the sustainer, the one that makes us one. I leave you now in a place of no words to plant this experience in your consciousness as a place you can return to for refuge and for rest and for renewal when you feel undone by the world. Come back here to remember that in the nourishment of earth and sun, in the company of kindred beings, in the rhythm of giving and receiving, and in the web of life energy that unites us, is everything we need for healing, for growth, and for joy. want to tell you a story that Robin Wall Kimmerer tells at the beginning of her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of Plants. The story of Sky Woman, a creation narrative that comes to us through the oral tradition of the Haudenosaunee people. This is how it goes. She fell through the hole in the sky world, and the light fell with her into the darkness. She spun like a maple seed falling inside that column of light, clutching the bundle of plants she'd been picking and the slim branch of the tree she'd been grasping when she fell. And she fell for a long time. In the darkness below her, many eyes saw the light and watched something tiny growing larger as it fell, until they could finally make out the shape, her long body, her arms outstretched, her hair flowing above her. The geese, in one consensual movement, rose and flew in order to break her fall, and caught her in their soft feathers and carried her down. And they hovered there over the water, supporting her weight. The other animals who'd been watching called a council so they could decide what to do next. The geese couldn't hold the woman for long. And so the loons came, and the otters, and the swans, and the beavers, and fish of all kinds. A huge turtle showed up, and the geese set the woman gently on his back. But they knew she needed more than that. She needed land. So they conferred. They wanted to help. The animals among them who could dive had heard that there was mud at the bottom of the water. They determined that they would go to get some. So Loon dove first, but he tired before he reached the bottom and returned empty-handed. And then the others tried, one by one, otter, then beaver, then sturgeon. But their strength and determination were no match for the cold and the darkness and the pressure that crushed them on their dives. And they all returned in distress, gasping for air. Soon, only Muskrat was left, so small and the least likely of them all to succeed. He dove, and they waited and waited for him to return, getting more and more anxious and fearing the worst for their relative. After a while, his body surfaced in a stream of bubbles. He had given his life in his effort to help the woman who fell, yet still clenched in his paw was a small handful of mud. Sky Woman took the mud from Muskrat's paw and spread it over Turtle's shell. In her gratitude for the care and help given her by the animals, she sang a song of thanksgiving and moved across the new earth with her feet in a dance. And the land grew as she danced. And that small gift of mud became, at the end of their celebration, the whole earth that we know today. Our earth was made from welcome, from care, and from gratitude. Then Sky Woman remembered that what she'd been carrying as she fell from the sky world, and she gave as she had received. She shook the branch that she had broken off the tree of life when she grabbed it in her fall, and she opened the bundle that she had held and scattered the seeds she'd been collecting. All kinds of plants grew and flourished under her care. Wild grasses, flowers, trees, and medicine plants spread everywhere. And now that the animals too had plenty to eat, Many came to live with her there on Turtle Island. Not too long ago, I came across a small story on Facebook, accompanied by this photograph of a baby possum. The text that accompanied the photo explained, someone brought some baby possums to the animal rescue center. Their mother had been killed. They were a mess, dirty and cold. We had to give them all baths. This little one here, through the whole ordeal, never let go of that little handful of grass that she was holding. It was her security blanket. Can you see the grass? It was one of those news-crazed pandemic days when I first saw this photo, and I wept. I was absolutely overwhelmed by empathy for this small creature who'd been swept up out of the familiar into a whole new world in which strange hands touched her and the water was warm and her mother was gone. In that moment, I also remembered the story of Sky Woman, who had also fallen from the normal and familiar into something unbidden, uncomfortable, and new. Both had kept their grip on the little bundles of medicine the whole time they were falling, the wherewithal for the making of a new world. Gifts they might give in reciprocity to those who helped them survive the radical shift in their circumstances. The ethic of reciprocity that Kimmerer writes about in Braiding Sweetgrass is the currency of our connection on the interdependent web of all life. It flows from life to life, from hand to paw, from bark to spine to root. It is our spirit of life, the flow of creative love through the web, the core of our universalist heritage. It shares remedy with pain, abundance with need, strength with weakness. It brings order out of chaos, peace out of anxiety, and hope out of despair. It makes friends of strangers and draws harmony out of dissonance, as you shall shortly see and hear. With it, we have the capacity to create new worlds in the places where old worlds fall. In most congregations, our choirs are the most deeply bonded groups of friends. And no wonder. They get to flex the muscle of reciprocity most overtly and regularly, and the whole they create is often so much bigger than the sum of their individual parts. It's magical. Our web is like a choir, the healing, growing, joy-filled song of reciprocity that is our life. You need only lean against the tree, smell the flower, till the soil, tend the hive, cook the meal, walk the path to feel the flow through your own body. Our strength comes from each other and is amplified by love. When you are undone, and I know you have been, when life is unbearably dissonant, and God knows it is right now, plug into that flow. Sit, lean in, listen, and sing. Amen.
It is our spiritual practice to take an offering, which will be shared between our fellowship and an agency doing social justice work. The circumstances caused by the COVID pandemic have put many people in a condition of food insecurity. Our Social Action Committee has chosen to make this our Share the Plate focus from now through August. Hence, the Share the Plate funds will be divided 80% to the island food pantry and 20% to any of our members who are in need. During this period, when we are not able to meet in person, please continue to send your pledge payments and your contributions to our Share the Plate partners to the office. Details on how to make your contributions are found in the special news feed. Please be sure to indicate how you want your contribution used. Details, again, may be found in the news feed.
I sing with the rhythm all around me, the rhythm of life. I sing with the rhythm all around me, the rhythm of life. I sing with the rhythm all around me, the rhythm of life. I sing with the rhythm all around me, the rhythm of life. La musica. Yes, my music is my life. In vivos se escucha. Listen and hear my voice. Dios mío cantando, I live to sing. Yo vivo cantando, yo vivo cantando, yo vivo cantando, music is my life, my life.
Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree which stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you. Our closing hymn is hymn number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Thank you, Peter, for that beautiful hymn.
We sound the bell at the end of our service. For our benediction, the words of Wayne Arneson. We've been saying these words a lot in the caregivers group, but it applies to all of us in these hard times. Many people to care for, many things to worry about. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear. And the stakes are very high. Take courage. For deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone. Amen.